Starting from tonight, I'm going to do a few videos infrequently or frequently. And the topic is going to be the new paradigm for life. Actually, it is not really a new paradigm that I'm going to talk about. It is an old paradigm, but presented in a language and idiom that is more enticing or more understandable than the language used by the Buddha or Jesus. The Buddha was even more esoteric than the Buddha. He said the new paradigm for life is a life without suffering, and that you can get it by stopping your thought process and the mind. Which is karma. When you stop your thought process, then you will end up living the non-mind. And when you live the non-mind or nirvana, which is the extinction of your mind, then life is no longer a suffering. And that is esoteric enough and impractical also for many people to follow. But that is literally the truth. Jesus made it a little more palatable here in his presentation. He said, how about bringing heaven on earth? Thy kingdom come to this earth plane as it is in heaven. And that is more interesting. Heaven is very beautiful and enjoyable and no suffering, no disease, no death. And why, we can bring that life to the earth plane. The Buddha failed, Jesus failed, and everybody else also failed. Why? Because these are concepts that are not enticing or for most people not something that can be practiced. You cannot stop your mind, like the Buddha said. Or to bring heaven on earth is even harder to conceive of. So what are we going to do? So we at least have to understand it in mundane terms. We live a life, and we have been doing that for quite many centuries. We have been living a life of sense gratification. Our life is a matter of gratifying our senses. And that is more pleasurable. sense gratification is pleasurable, and that is the only thing that makes life a little more enjoyable than living a life of the spirit, which religions have been teaching. Spiritual life is very difficult. Is it really difficult? No, it is not really difficult. It is really the most blissful experience. It appears to be difficult to meditate, to engage in discussion of God or higher states of consciousness. What is more interesting is living the great American dream, which is make a lot of money, buy a mansion, good cars, and handsome men and beautiful women and tasty food, and then one day you realize that you are getting old and aging, and results in diseases, and then death becomes very painful. But then there is no other way of living life that has been presented to people, and although it exists in churches, synagogues, and temples, and other ashrams, etc., but then that is not taken seriously. You just go to these places, just, go there because it is a tradition to do that. And maybe a little bit of God, a little bit of music is soothing, and it's after all half an hour in a Sunday or Friday or Thursday or whatever. So what are we going to do? We cannot do much. But all that I can tell you now is, unless there is a change that comes from the divine to evolve our consciousness, to evolve human life, then we will be able to sit down and meditate or reflect on God, because the energy changes. There is a cosmic energy that is going to be available, and that energy is going to help us, and that seems to be the only way. Otherwise, no amount of teaching about the spirit and meditation and discourses, etc., they are not going to work. They may work, maybe 5%. 90% television works, entertainment, watching movies, soap operas. And now the TV has been replaced by Facebook and other social media. To engage even more with the senses. Now, I decided to do this video, at least this will appeal to some people who are ready for such transformation. Even when there is this cosmic energy that's going to come, it's not going to transform everybody. It will transform only people who are ready, have done some preliminary work prior to the advent of the energy, which you can call as the avatar coming or Jesus is coming back, uh, or another avatar coming back, or a new avatar, or whatever. So I'm going to engage you on this theme whenever I feel compelled to go in front of my laptop and do this for you.